This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. I'm Kate Sharon. The new owner of the Shackelford Mansion in Evansville plans to turn the long-vacant historic building into a boutique hotel. Developer Brian Broyles plans to restore the 1860s-era structure, elevating its historic features into attractive hotel rooms.
My plan at this point is for a boutique-style hotel, Victorian designed rooms, possibly, I'm talking, clawfoot tubs and tile showers in the bathrooms, fireplace mantles in the rooms, floor-to-ceiling windows, artwork.
One of Broyles' next steps is financing, but for now he is maintaining the building as he pulls his plans together. He has set no firm timetable for starting the project. Broyles is now the third owner since No Ruse Grotto to try to find a purpose for the Shackelford Mansion. Several have said the building is solid, and some work has been done inside, but the interior and the facade still need a lot of attention. One of the primary restoration challenges is updating the mansion's electric and plumbing systems. 2 University of Notre Dame professors received cash prizes in this year's First Source Bank Commercialization Awards. The awards are given to faculty from Notre Dame or the Indiana University School of Medicine South Bend, who have, quote, successfully transitioned their technologies from the lab to the marketplace. Notre Dame Associate Professor of Electrical Engineering Thomas O'Sullivan took the $25,000 first place prize for the Near-Wave Imager, a handheld device designed to help doctors determine if a treatment is working to shrink or kill a tumor. The device is able to deliver that information within a week, rather than the typical 6 to 12 months it currently takes to make the determination. Additionally, Notre Dame is saying the technology is showing promising results in the ability to differentiate between benign and malignant tumors in a non-invasive fashion. Newsweek has released its annual rankings of America's top online colleges for 2024, and several Indiana-based institutions made the list. The 6 Indiana schools who made it include IUPUI at number 33, Ball State University at number 35, Purdue University at number 75, Indiana State University at number 101, Purdue University Northwest and Gary at number 139, and Purdue University Fort Wayne at 162. The publication partnered with the research data firm Statista to rank the top 200 colleges and universities that offer online undergraduate and graduate programs. The ranking was determined based on a survey of more than 9,000 online learners, as well as the partners' research about the institutions. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to Engage Central Indiana, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. You won't want to miss our fireside chat with Governor Holcomb and the Michael A. Carroll Award presentation to Mitch Daniels. Plus, we'll dive into the important issues shaping the region's economy. It's December 6th at the JW Marriott in downtown Indy. RSVP at ibj.com/engage.
Moderate your expectations for the next legislative session, says Indiana's lawmaking leaders. More tweaks and fine-tuning and fewer overhauls are in the works. IIB's Alex Brown has more.
They're not taking on gambling expansions, water fights, or costly initiatives during the shorter non-budget session, which begins in January and must end by mid-March. The session could include some more action on truancy and reading after lawmakers last session mandated that schools teach the science of reading over other less effective measures. But don't expect sweeping changes to career-focused education initiatives or to housing, they said, after last year's massive plan to reinvent high school and the creation of a revolving loan fund for housing development infrastructure. House Speaker Todd Houston and other legislative leaders said they're also not taking on new and controversial subjects like expanding gambling or regulating large water transfers. Advocates have for several years wanted to legalize internet gaming, but it's unlikely to go anywhere this year. Former Shelbyville Representative Sean Eberhardt agreed to plead guilty to a federal felony charge this month for supporting legislation benefiting spectacle entertainment in exchange for future employment. Republican Senate President Pro Tem Rod Bray said Eberhardt's case, quote, makes gaming really hard to engage in, end quote, and indicated that it could limit legislation for several sessions. Alex Brown, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Entering contract talks with Detroit's 3 automakers, Shawn Fain set lofty expectations for what he could gain for his union members, and delivered on many of them. He secured significant pay raises, improved benefits, the right to strike over plant closures, and a raft of other concessions. But to the United Auto Workers president, the agreements that emerged from talks that were marked by 6 weeks of strikes were merely the start of a victory streak and a renaissance for the 88-year-old union. Now Fain has set his latest ambitious goal, to gain UAW membership in non-union companies across the industry, from foreign automakers with U.S. operations like Toyota, to electric vehicle makers like Tesla, to EV battery plants that will likely represent a sizable share of auto jobs in the decades ahead. Already, Fain asserted in an interview with the Associated Press, the contracts have benefited workers in non-union auto companies. Soon after the UAW won major pay raises for its workers, Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, and Nissan, all non-union operations, raised their workers' pay, in what Fain characterized as an obvious bid to stop the UAW from unionizing those workforces. The River Ridge Development Authority is marking 25 years in operation, with what it calls its most successful year on record for the River Ridge Commerce Center. The 6,000-acre business and office park in Jeffersonville and Charleston was established in 1998 to offset the lost economic activity caused by the closure of the Indiana Army ammunition plant. The biggest developments from 2023 have come just in the last month. In October, Canadian Solar announced plans to invest more than $800 million to build a solar voltaic cell production facility in the Jeffersonville portion of the park and create 1,200 jobs. The project represents the largest single investment in the River Ridge to date, according to the RRDA. Marian University will use a $1.16 million Lilly Endowment grant to kickstart the Preach Always initiative. The Indianapolis Catholic College received the funding as part of the endowment's Compelling Preaching Initiative, which supports projects to grow the Christian faith. The Preach Always project will seek to mitigate the number of young people leaving the church. It will conduct a national research project, create a preaching certificate, and start a national young adult preaching contest next summer at the National Eucharistic Congress in Indianapolis. Sagamore Institute president and former state senator Teresa Lubbers is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Kate Sharon for Inside Indiana Business, Radio on Demand.